I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Trustee Travis is going to be changing a little bit. He'll be joining us a little bit later. And has all the board had an opportunity to review the minutes from last meeting?
Yes.
And I see that it's been edited. Again, Alyssa, thanks for a great job in the minutes. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes, please?
So moved. I'll second.
First motion, Ben, second. Alyssa, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Here.
Alyssa? Sorry. We have a public hearing for local law number 2. We're going to be opening that up at this time. We'll be keeping it open for an hour. Excuse me?
You want to describe to everyone what that is?
Yeah, basically it's a law that allows the board to exceed the tax cap if necessary. We obviously try to keep the tax cap as close as we can, but if we don't pass this, we cannot exceed it. So that's a tax override for tax levy established in general municipal law to exceed.
Does that mean we'll automatically?
No.
But if I was passing this law?
No, it does not mean automatically. It just allows us, if in case when we go through our work session of the budget with Donegan's office, we see that we do need to exceed it because of operational costs or commitments to the fire department or whatever other agencies and health insurance, pay rates, things like that.
Well, back in the day, so back in the day with the 2% cap, there were benefits to doing it. There was the STAR stuff, rebates, things like that. In order to do that, we have to do it, the town had to do it, the school had to do it, all entities had to do it together. You don't get all three doing it all together. So if one doesn't do it, it doesn't make a difference on the other benefit.
I understand. I just want to make sure that the community understands about it. That it's fair.
3% tax increases.
Yeah. We do have one presentation before I'm going to open the...
Comments on here?
Oh, any comments on here? I'm sorry. I thought you had comments on here. Any comments or questions on the hearing regarding local law number 2? Going once, twice? 7:30. Very good. 7 to 7:30. I do have a special presentation tonight from Anthony Gator. Anthony, you have the floor.
Thank you. So, my name's Anthony Gator. Like you said, I've been serving as the commander of the American Legion since June of 2024. I'm here tonight actually to thank everyone again for the last 2 years when we worked with you guys. Connecting Lima Legion and its family with the community that is Lima and allowing us to continue to serve you guys in new and expanded ways, more so than most recent years. Traditionally, we've seen you guys maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the year, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and so forth. But I've looked for a lot of ways in these past 2 years to reconnect Lima Legion with our community and to continue to show you guys that we're here to serve you guys, we're here to work with you guys for the better of our community, for the better of Lima's veterans, and for everyone involved. So I can't thank you guys enough for that to start off with. It's been absolutely amazing to work with everyone, around the table with our community. Everyone who helps make Lima Legion, Sons of American Legion, Legion Auxiliary, and the VFW, I speak for them as well, what they are. Lima's very fortunate to have such a strong Legion family, VFW, where the communities typically struggle. Lima is very fortunate for that, and it's because of all of you that we're able to accomplish all these things. So thank you so much for that. My presentation tonight was something I've been working with Brian with back and forth for a few months now, and I got a little bit of trouble last night because I haven't been able to come here and do this yet. So again, thank you for this time. We discussed the opportunity for the Mark Hubbs Park and with the Parks Commission. Some new roofing, as well as some other opportunities to improve the local spaces for our community. So tonight I'm actually here to present a check to the Parks Commission, to the town, $2,000 towards one of the roof replacements for the Veterans Gazebo in Mark Hubbs Park. I'd also like to notate that one step further here in warmer weather, we've already approved the expense and opportunity. I'll be spearheading the volunteers as well to restain that gazebo as well before the 4th of July for our community. And again, I want to reiterate again, this is for you guys, for the community, for our veterans. We're here for you, we're here to serve you, we're here to work with you, and we couldn't be happier to be here for you and all of Lima. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, Anthony, I wanted to comment and congratulate you on your being more visible and proactive in our community. I had the opportunity to see some of your gaming nights over at the Legion, and it was just amazing to learn how many gaming systems and what the systems actually do to reach out to veterans that are in need now with mental health awareness. Can you share briefly with the community at large today what the results were of this gaming regarding reduction in suicides?
Absolutely. For those that don't know, I founded and built from the ground up a program called Legend 2. We launched officially December 21st of 2024. After 10 months of fundraising, conversations, we were able to fundraise a little over $20,000 for our project. And in doing so, we acquired state-of-the-art gaming computers, TVs, consoles, and partnerships with some amazing companies that support veterans and their families. Our goal amidst all of this, gaming is fun, gaming is fantastic, but it's an icebreaker for our program. It's a common ground. I can tell you, having served 6 years in the Marine Corps, that a lot of weekends I've spent with other Marines in the barracks, on my laptop, gaming, whatever it may have been. You know, it was our escape, it was our way of releasing. The point of this was to duplicate that, to allow that common space, to allow the safe place where they can come, they can game, they can connect. And we, as the Legion family, can connect these veterans and their families to local resources that can help them. Mental health professionals, local county directors and veteran service officers that can connect them to their benefits, to direct them to what they need. And in turn, fighting that stigma that is a mental health crisis that shows that these veterans feel too proud, too strong to say that they are in fact struggling. We provide that space that says it's okay to struggle. It's okay to seek help. It is not weakness, it is strength. And we connect you with whatever means we can. And over the past year, we just celebrated our 1 year in this past December. And thank you for those who attended that. I really do appreciate that. And I can tell you that we've already had massive results. I don't know how many lives saved you guys would count as a lot, but for me, just one life saved, one veteran life saved is a massive improvement. For those that don't know, Livingston County led the state a few years back in the highest veteran suicide rate. We have since worked very, very hard to curb that, and we've long since relinquished that title, thankfully. But it comes with a lot of hard work, dedication, and some really amazing people, and the support of amazing communities like Lima. And in doing so, Lima now spearheads the very first American Legion program, Life Regiment, in the fight against veteran suicide and the Legion's mission of being the one for those veterans and their families. And I can tell you that we've made a massive difference with our partners, amongst the VA, Livingston County Veteran Services, and all of those partners, Frontier Corps, between Rochester all the way to Buffalo, we have partners. We've partnered with companies out of the UK that sent us free starter kits for veterans and their families, typically around $60, $80 a piece. They said, we'll send you a dozen, let us know when you need more. That's what we're doing. That's what Lima Legion is spearheading, not just here, not just Livingston County, but for the entire state. We're the very first one. We're laying the groundwork for this to take root across the entire state, and actually I'll be in front of the state officers here in July out in Syracuse to show them what Lima is doing and what really shows us above the rest.
That's outstanding.
Can you present the check to the board? You have a suicide awareness program coming up soon on Sunday?
Absolutely, we do. I'm very excited about it. This month, on the 22nd, from noon to 1, we are actually partnering with our VA partners. Ashley Smith, who's also Livingston County Suicide Prevention Task Force, is coming out to do a wonderful training. She's done also place for us. And what that does, it helps educate everyone to these signs, what to look for and how you can address them and how you can potentially help save that life or be that person, be that one who can identify and get them to the help, or know the resources and how to react and get them to the health professional to in turn save that life. That's on the 22nd at the Lima Legion Post 12 to 1. I openly welcome all of you to do it if you have it. It's usually only 30-45 minutes. If you can spare that, it realistically can save a life. I highly encourage it.
Thank you very much.
Anthony, thank you. Sorry, I got distracted momentarily.
It'd be nice if an interpreter was provided. That would be a wonderful thing an opportunity to attend if there was an interpreter for that.
Absolutely. So let me see if I can do that.
We'll get connected. If you reach out to me, I'll have Erica reach
I can
out.
help you.
Well, actually, if you want to reach out directly to Erica, if she has the connection, that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Thank you so
You know,
much.
what you're doing is proof to, thank you for sharing that with the community, because I've been privy to that, but I don't know who else has and is familiar with it. So I think it's great, and it helps us become all more knowledgeable to share the story and share the pain of our veterans. Service doesn't end when in active duty, and you're proof that after active duty, the service continues, and to serve those that still struggle from the acts of war. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. Just want to say as well, just so you guys know, as my tenure comes to an end here in just a few months as commander, I am, June, I'll be passing the torch off to the next commander for Lima's Field, Lima. And I am in line to actually take point as the Livingston County commander here in June. And I hope to continue this mission, still representing Lima, of course, across the Livingston County, continue to make a difference. And again, I want to thank you all so much for that. Thank you for that support community. Thank you.
Anthony, you want to come over here and we'll get a photo?
Absolutely.
We'll stand by the flag.
Smile, please. One more this way, please. I'll share that with you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you, Brian, as always. Good to see you. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Is there anybody on the list that needed to address the board tonight? Please raise your hand. Yes, sir. And your name?
Dave, Lucian,
Can you pronounce the last name?
Petruccio.
Trustees. Oh, that's
Wait a minute, John. She's supposed to sign her name. She's supposed to sign her
Is she
name if she
speaking?
wants to talk, yes.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Is she resident of Lima?
Almost. That's a frequent request.
Yes.
As per the state meeting rules, we're putting a 5-minute limit to speech time. So, sir, if you want to stand, please, and address the board, we'd appreciate your comments.
Dave Petruccio, I live on Dublin Street, right in the corner of Beale and Dublin. And I just wanted to ask about thoughts about flooding that we've had up there. Our house is on Dublin Street and on Dual. We're all across from the town pavement and the church pavement. I'm very proud. I see them every day. So, but with so much pavement there, and as this weather changes, we're getting a lot more severe flooding into our basements in that area. You know, we had a large storm, we had 2 large storms last year. The year before that, I ended up with a tree in my house. So things are changing. So I'm seeing that it looks like the town will be paving there soon. Only because I noticed there's a lot of potholes there. And that, so when you think about doing things in that area, try to think about ways to reduce the flooding that comes across the road. And For instance, the Breckenberry House, which is right next to the school, the old school, there's pavement. She's surrounded by pigs, and I talked to her, and she says, you know, her sump pump can't keep up with it, she's getting flooded all the time. And as you come down Buell, there's several places that are actually getting flooded too. So, and as you know, where the creek crosses there, I forget where they have folks that right there, but you've had to dig them out several times too. But all that water comes down from across the street from us, a lot of it. And then the other case we had was it came out of the fields and then tore up 15 acres. But for all the homes there, we're in a tough spot because there's no grass across from us to absorb any of that water. So I just wanted to bring it up so that thoughts for the future here, that we're doing things in that area to somehow prevent this or help prevent it.
I appreciate your comments. I'm sorry you're having struggles with that. I know that's been ongoing. We just performed a study with our engineering group last year to try to pinpoint some of the heavy areas, and the bottom of Buell was obviously one of them. And of course, the Four Corners by in front of Side Fanatics and up on, what is it? Hill Terrace. So there's some areas, we'll definitely take that in consideration, you know, as we get through there. I trust Ben with, you know, his eyes and line of sight that if something can be done, it definitely will be.
Well, and Ben's helped me out, you know, I pointed out that the church, the storm drain by the church, he's cleared that out. The town now has a drain to the east that's right in the corner where the Buell and Dublin sign is. And that one continually clogs up. The reason is because the town used to have a gravel pile there.
Right.
And so what it does is it flows down and blocks that up. So the folks that live across Carolyn, lives across from us, they get flooded all the time too. Because that doesn't, storm drain, you know, keeps on clogging up.
Right. And if that's something we can address with,
I can talk to Sean.
talk to Sean about that.
Yeah, he's got to
Yeah, Dave, it's been unfortunate that we've got 100-year storms twice a year, you know, in the last few years, you know. And, you know, we just can't, our infrastructure can't handle it anymore. And the cost of replacing the infrastructure with oversized pipes is in the multi-millions of dollars. So we're trying to prioritize, not that yours any less of a priority, but we're trying to prioritize, try and get rid of where the water is backing up and hoping that the areas that subsequently are adding to that are relieved also. So I'm not a water engineer by any means, and I don't have control over rainfall, but we'll definitely be proactive in keeping an eye on that. I don't like to drive around in the rain, but when it does, I do, because there's certain areas that we want to keep track of, so that'll be on my list to keep track of.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your time. Yes, Ms.
Remember there
Dowd?
was horrible flooding where we lived?
Yeah.
In college, when they repaved the school? Then what did they do to remedy that?
So in the school parking lot, they have a bunch of retaining areas that are in there that soak up a bunch of the water. They slows it all down, gives it time to drain out. So they've got some underground structures in there that hold some stuff there down at the school.
They made things better.
Oh, you've noticed an improvement?
Yeah.
Outstanding. Thank you for commenting on that, because we sometimes don't know. All we hear is the negativity, but the positivity
It
is also
slows
very
it
low.
down, put it that way. It doesn't stop, but it slows it
But
down.
the problem is there's so much blacktop.
Yeah.
Everything that's going, just like Dave mentioned, the church parking lot that years ago wasn't the size that it is
Used to
now.
be a little ball
It used to
field.
be a ball field, what? Used to play there all the time. And now, there isn't, you know, kind of like that, just the blacktop that doesn't give a place for the runoff to go.
Yeah, and that's typical from Tupelo, going down Eastwood, getting down the rest of the community. So we have another guest. Miss Marilyn?
Yes.
Did you want to address the board?
I will be.
I'll wait for Erica's
We
portion.
have a presentation later, if you'd like to comment during that time.
Okay, we can do that. Any other comments? At this time, we'll move forward with the department reports. Chief Garrett?
Yep.
There you go.
All right, nothing too significant.
Chief, can I interrupt you for 1 second? If there's any cell phones, please sell us some cell phones. That's odd. I didn't call you, I did you not? Please silence all the cell phones. You got connections.
Right off, he doesn't know what to say.
Okay.
Continue.
All right, so I did submit 2 membership requests tonight. Auxiliary members, they are lifetime members that were previously active, went inactive, and now they want to come back onto the active side. Sheila Luft and Mario Richardson. So you have those applications there. Again, they're known to the organization. They've been in the department a long time, but they just are moving from inactive to active status. As far as training, we're still, the new to us, Pumper 234 is in service now. Continuing our training, we have 9 personnel that are fully qualified to drive and operate it, 5 other people that are in progress, but that is in service now as Pumper 235 went into Hawk Frame for frame repair. So it went there a week ago. It's still there. It's expected to be there probably another 10 days, but that seems to be on track, so we're hoping to get that back probably by the 20th of the month, and then it'll take us a couple of days to get some of the gear back on it, but by the end of the month it should be back in service, and we'll be back to having 2 apparatus. As far as other training, we got a couple guys registered for classes, 1 taking the ice rescue course here next week, and then 2 guys taking the basic passenger vehicle rescue course. We had our training the other night, really nothing out of the ordinary, just getting ready for a burn ban and grass fire season, making sure that we're ready to go for that.
And respectfully for the burn ban, that started on that already,
No, March 16th.
March 16th.
Yeah,
When
it
does
goes through for 2 months till May 15th.
Thank you.
So, and I'll post something on our Facebook and share it to Positive Line as that goes into effect. Really pretty low month. It's the lowest month we've had in the last 3 years in terms of calls. So that, and then we did receive the DEC grant this year. So it's a $7,000 matching grant. So we buy $7,000 worth of equipment. We had to have the equipment list approved, part of the grant. New thermal imaging camera, some wildland firefighting gear that we didn't have that we needed because we're part of the county wildland firefighting response team. And then some lights and chainsaws and equipment we needed to be part of that. So we have it all ordered. It's not all here yet, but it'll be here pretty soon. And then once we show them all the equipment we purchased, then they'll reimburse us the $3,500 for their half. So we'll get $7,000 of equipment for about $35
Is the
US.
thermal imaging camera something that's portable that you use when you go into active scenes?
Yeah, so I mean, we use them both, for fires when we're looking for people inside the house, but for the wildland search and rescue part, it's very easy to find people at night who might be lost in the woods because they have a thermal signature, so you can
Similar to what we saw in Honey Falls when the sheriffs used thermal imaging to locate the wandering woman.
I'm not familiar with that event, but yeah, it's a handheld thermal camera that has a pretty good distance on it. Can see about, as far as you can see, it can see thermal signatures. So
Nice.
it's a great tool. So we have a couple of them already, but we wanted one specifically for wildland search and rescue stuff. So we got that. I submitted the annual budget request. We had a meeting about that the other day, and I already said that the 235 is at Hawk for a couple weeks, and that seems to be on track. That's all I have this month.
Awesome. I'm glad we had a little bit of a reprieve on all the calls.
Yep, we had a couple busy months before that, so it's all falls into the average. So
Good. Well, I appreciate you coming to the table and having conversations with myself, and the town and I will be meeting here shortly with Supervisor Cates, and it's looking favorable to go in the direction that we need to help support the fire department and the breathing apparatus and additional equipment apparatus moving forward in the future.
Yep.
So thank you. Is there any questions for Chief Gary this time? Thank you, Chief. Appreciate your time.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept Ms. Richardson, Ms. Luck, for membership in the
Missouri.
London Village Fire Department.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Melissa, do you want to put these back in our folders? You want us to forward?
Who seconded that?
There's only, we did, I just.
I made a motion.
I saw something.
Few seconds, and we'll move forward on that.
Hey, one thing I forgot to mention because it just happened today, but we've been working with the town historian for like the last year on this plaque to go in the front where the child's is there about the history of the fire department and the history of the child. So that was actually installed today. So if you get a chance to, we have a light on it and everything. It's a nice plaque. I just looked at it on the way down. So it's saying it was installed today. It looks pretty good.
Great, and for those that don't know, it's not an actual child, it's a child.
That's the brand name from 1927.
Let me know.
We've had that question before.
We have.
Very good, thanks, Chief. Chief Rose from our ambulance.
Okay, you guys have the report, an average month, so 45 calls. You got the breakdown, you can see kind of the different locations for calls where the transports came out of. Nothing really stands out. We did end up doing 2 discharge transfers, which is a nice opportunity. That means that we had 2 crews on, we're able to do that. We're going to continue to try to do that when we can. It's a nice service for people in Lima, but it also allows for a little additional revenue there. So we got 2 of those done last month. Other things, the base was used for 7 community events. We are working on the process of having a new outbuilding built for the loan closet. We got a donation, which is really awesome, and I'm working with Steve Werner and the code enforcement officer to kind of get the rest of the logistics together, but super excited to see that coming into place, because we're overflowing with equipment. It's just awkward. Like everything, you can't really stack commodes and things like that. It just doesn't work. So finding ways to put stuff that makes it easy for people to get things in and out and nothing's going to fall on anybody's head while they're trying to do so.
And you're referencing all the medical, the loan closet.
Yeah, the loan closet equipment, yeah.
How much of that is, I know that you have worked really hard in creating a pediatric type loan closet. How much of the equipment in there is pediatric versus normal adult use? Kitty kitty?
Maybe more like 60-40. We got more peds than adults.
Oh, yeah? Good.
At this stage. So we have a wide variety of different pediatric equipment in there, and then the kind of standard adult equipment. And then the ped stuff it goes out for long-term loan versus like, it's not the same thing as like you borrow something because you broke your ankle. These are pieces of equipment that therapists use for a kid for like 3 to 6 months while they're waiting for insurance to come around and do all the things they do to pay for it. So those ones, they go out for longer, where other stuff kind of comes in and out of the adult stuff goes in and out of the shed a lot faster.
I read the email and the dimensions, but how big, much bigger is it than what we currently have?
I don't know how big the shed is. How big do you think the shed is that we have?
How much money?
Right now, 10 by 12.
10 by 12, yeah. So it's not huge. We're doing a 20 by 20.
Nice.
The next one up, so that it has room for some growth. And has the potential, it's going to have like a ramp going into it, so that right now we have to lift things up and in, which certain pieces of equipment on the ped side are heavier than some equipment. And we'll have opportunities to like have things hanging and so forth, so that we can put stuff, use the best space the best we can, and have a pathway down the middle.
And Meg, this is being donated by Superior Walls, is that correct? So it's a concrete outbuilding.
It'll be sustainable.
What people think of as a shed.
Yes, it's not a shed. It's
not a shed,
it's an outbuilding.
Yeah, it's a concrete outbuilding. So again, our friends, neighbors at Superior Walls.
We'll do a big shout out to them once we have all the logistics there. We have plans for doing a big formal thank you to them, but
Where were you thinking of putting it?
we're still trying to figure that piece out.
I'll just be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you can lean in too. I'm supposed to meet up with code enforcement next week to take a look at options, but I would love to have your insight as well, since you help maintain the parking lot.
And did I read correctly that the existing building is going to be repurposed, possibly sold?
That was his idea. I'm still trying to tease that out. We have a lot of ambulance equipment that we could potentially put out there that currently is just built to take space in the bay. So we could go either way. We potentially could sell and get rid of it. It also has, there's a lot of water damage inside it, and there's some mold, so I don't know that we'll have to look at all the components. I need all the stuff out in order to get a better look of what's happening inside.
I didn't mean to distract you off your report, I'm sorry.
That's okay. We have 2 applicants that are, one is somebody who would like to take EMT class this summer, and the other one is a driver applicant. Officers put in about 178 hours of administrative work this month. 281 continues to give us some challenges. We're working on trying to figure out why it won't hold a charge. It got new tires and new front shocks. That won't fix the electrical issues, but hopefully it'll be happier. One of our members successfully repaired the airway seat, so that's huge. We didn't send out for that, which was a big deal. Everything, the brush guard removed and potentially fixed, so that, because it's shaking and it's creating damage to the front of the ambulance. 282 is giving us, the power load stretcher is giving us some trouble, so we're working on that. We have somebody coming out to take a look at that. We applied for a grant that we hope to hear back from at the end of March for a new AED, so fingers crossed we won't be buying that out of our budget. We have a good balance right now with our volunteers and then the staffing. Our volunteer hours and stress are going down. We've got them helping on projects around the base, which has been huge to have people working on all of that. And the whole month of February, the schedule was full. There wasn't a single hour that we didn't have somebody, a full crew on the schedule, and there were multiple opportunities where we had 2 crews on the schedule. So it's a different feel. We're not at the stress level that we were a year ago.
So you are feeling some reprieve.
Definitely feeling some reprieve.
That's
We're only 1 month into it. There's lots of growing pains, and we're still teasing out some of the pieces, but there's a lot of great conversations happening, a lot of good interactions between the different crews, and so that's been really awesome. And then I guess the last thing exciting for us is that Lima EMS has 3 nominations for Malrun's or Monroe Livingston EMS Awards. That'll be, the award ceremony will be in May, and one of those is that we are up for Agency of the Year. So that's very exciting.
Malrun, for those that don't know, is Monroe County and Livingston County.
Monroe and Livingston EMS. So it's a really awesome opportunity. They reviewed, the work we've been doing, and the other agency that is up for it is Pittsburgh Ambulance. So I'm just proud to be in the same room with Pittsburgh Ambulance. Like, that's a big deal. So it's whatever comes of it, is what comes of it, but it is super exciting to have our name up there. If you go to the Malrun's website, at the top of it, they've got a picture with everybody's names on it who were nominated. And there's Lima Ambulance, so that's very exciting.
And when is that banquet?
May 2nd? Thank you. Like it's May, I can't remember when. So yeah, we got that. We're going to have 2 other individuals who are also nominated for individual awards. So that is very exciting. Anybody have questions for me before I sit down?
I want to make a comment again of just how phenomenal you are as a leader, businesswoman, and how you have just continued to bring that whole team together. So I as a liaison, it's always been an honor to work with you, but it's just even more to get to know you and to really see the work that you're always doing. So thank you. And I just want to say that on Saturday night, you said you had 5 calls on Saturday night.
Very busy weekend. The time change made for some interesting charting. Definitely fun when you start, the clock jumps ahead in the middle of an ambulance call. That makes things kind of exciting to write it all down. But yeah, we had quite a busy weekend. But we all got some rest last night.
Thank you very much. And Meg, first of all, Lima EMS is always Agency of the Year for us.
Yeah.
So, if we can help with that nomination with letters, please let us know.
It's already been done. I did.
Great, thank
There's
you.
on top of it.
I noticed that 40% of your calls last month were out of district.
Yes.
That number seems to continue to increase.
I think, so 40 is kind of the highest number we've seen so far. We had a little bit of a dip in January, where it had been a little bit higher in the fall. We've seen a little bit more of it. But certainly we're seeing that this weekend, 50% of the calls that we had were out of district calls. So if we transport, it's revenue. So that's revenue's going to help us pay the bills. So we're a fan of that. It's when it's just, standbys and things like that, a little bit trickier, but all in all, we're doing what's best for the community as a whole. So
yeah, we're just keeping an eye on it.
It's absolutely, we're keeping an eye on it. It's definitely, if we're being pulled out of district, it means at least one, most likely two other agencies are also out of resources. So, because we don't typically get pulled unless both Livingston County and Livonia are busy. So that really goes to show how really busy and overly taxed the EMS system is. It's just reality. The EMS system's taxed. If you go look at Monroe County numbers for their agencies, I would guess they're very similarly tracking, because every district has more calls, or the county has more calls than ambulances available.
I might make mention that we also had a very successful meeting with Skyport, who does our information technology data, computer hardware, with Dan Marsalis, with all of our departments, including Department of Public Works, Village Office with computers, servers, etc. And what we met with, we were talking about HIPAA compliance. The state has certain HIPAA compliance, the federal government has certain federal compliance laws that we are completely compliant with. We are going through a checklist to have a portfolio, basically saying where we are compliant and how we are compliant with ambulance, fire department, DPW, and our clerk's office to make sure that we are covering all bases 100%. That portfolio will be put together in the village office and be held at each individual department. So if we happen to have a comptroller come by and say, hey, I just want to check out what you got, we can go, whoop, right here, we are in complete compliance.
Can I comment on that?
Yes, absolutely.
So during that meeting, I just wanted you to know that Meg had put together pretty much everything she needs to at least show she cares.
Yeah.
Right? So, you're doing so much more than everyone else that's in your position, and even medical officers. So I commend you for what you did.
Thank you, yeah. I mean, we're monitoring it, we're trying to do the best that we know what we need to do, and then we'll just keep trying to do more as more expectations are there. But we've got everything in place, so.
We just have to tweak it with the village because they're kind of a covered entity, not
Correct.
really.
Yeah, we have to expand it out. What we have, we're isolated to our agency and what we're doing here, but we got to expand it out to the rest of the country.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, in reaching out to other agencies, they don't necessarily have this level of compliance. If they're compliant, they don't have it readily available. So we're far and away, heads above the water, and we've got all the information together. So grateful for your attention to detail and making my job easier.
So, can I just make a point though, last month, Brian, you had made a statement, and I have to say that it really came across as insinuating that there was a HIPAA issue with the ambulance. So could I, for the record, could we get some?
That's what I just said, there was no problem with non-compliance, that everything was within compliance, and the bank provided that information to us.
So I just, for the record.
For the record, I didn't insinuate, I said that there was a concern on the village's part for maintaining the records in a regulated industry, because if it's not documented, it didn't happen. That's the cardinal rule of all.
I understand that, I know that.
We will have a more formal presentation on board level, so we can document this in minutes once we have Dan.
I can just comment, because I met with Brian when we were talking about the overall IT and things, and what it is, it wasn't an issue of compliance as far as the ambulance space, it was an issue that the village is actually the covered entity in a sense, it needs to go into a hybrid situation.
Right.
And that's where the, quote, issue was, not with the union.
Yeah, so when Meg and I get to the point where we have a document that we can, the village can use that covers the umbrella of EMS for fire, ambulance, even our clerk, because she does handle some pretty good information and personal information. We just have to have bases covered. Have a portfolio that we can hand it to someone saying, we checked our boxes, we are in compliance, and that is it. So we'll have that formal presentation once we get to that point. Any other questions for Ambulance Chief Rose?
I'll make a motion that Mr. Wesley and Ms. Herman be accepted as members of the volunteer ambulance.
I'll second that.
All in favor, please?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thanks, Chief. Keep up the great work. Get some rest. Great. Next is wastewater treatment plant dig. Oh, we have 30 minutes.
Yeah, there's a
Hold
whole
on,
lot.
Dave, 1 second. We have,
Sorry.
our timer is complete with our local law number 2 for a public hearing. Are there any other final comments? If not, we make the motion to accept local law number 2 to override the tax levy.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing first.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we can take a motion to accept local law number 2 for 2026 overriding tax levy limit established in general municipal law 3-C. Can I get a motion? Here it is.
I'll make a motion to,
Ben,
Ben made a motion, I will second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you. Now, Mr. Kirkwood, I beg your pardon.
No problem. I don't have much. Things are going decent. With the warming weather and the rains we've had, we're getting a lot of inflow at the sewer plant. Normally we're 150, 200,000 gallons a day. We've had a few peaks over 500,000 gallons a day, so more than doubling it. Again, it's kind of, I apologize for the hasty board report, but it's been a weird couple weeks. Pretty much everything in the plant's been focused on getting ready for this wet weather, for all the water coming in, trying to make sure all the equipment's ready to handle it. We had a pump go down yesterday, managed to get it torn apart, had a spare part that we threw in temporarily while we get the good one fixed. They need some work, I'm waiting on costs. It shouldn't be too bad for a new impeller and rebuild kit and stuff for it. Kind of ongoing is the same, maintenance, getting stuff organized and scheduling, and trying to make sure by the end of this year to have next year's full schedule all set for maintenance. So it's just, we know every year when you hit a certain date, certain stuff to do, and it's all just kind of hit the ground running. This month is just getting everything up in shape, getting everything clean, getting the sewer plant in good shape. We're working on the trickling filters, getting those all scrubbed down, clean, getting the algae off of them. Next month, we gotta start getting all the tanks pumped out clean, because we gotta get ready for the UV to go back in. Really, it's just kind of, we're hitting maintenance season and spring cleaning like everybody else. Stuff's going pretty decent so far.
Awesome. How's your parts reserve? You mentioned that you happen to have parts online for the one pump that went down. Is that something that you restock so that we have it readily available if it happens to fail again?
Some stuff. I'm trying to get a list together. I don't think I have a whole lot in this budget to do it. I'm trying to get stuff set for June, to maybe put an order in for a few spare parts that I've used up. A lot of the stuff, like, our pumps wear out. This particular one that went, and we actually had 2 in the scrap metal pile. We managed to get one out, and it was actually last year. Me and Ben put new bearings in it and had it set to the side and ready to go in case we need it. It's not in the best shape, but it's getting us through until we get the good one rebuilt. Yeah, there's never enough spare parts.
Well, I just gotta commend you on using your skill set and finding, making gold out of garbage.
Right.
And being frugal with repair parts.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is real expensive to get the big parts, like the impeller for this one pump. Seals and gaskets really aren't too bad. So a lot of that we do have some spares in stock, and we can rebuild stuff fairly.
Do most operators for wastewater treatment have the skills to be able to do those seals, or do they have to contract someone to come in and rebuild them? Is that just
To
something?
be honest, I don't know. They're not terribly difficult, but it is intimidating. This pump that we're taking apart is probably a $15,000-$20,000 pump to buy it new. It's not terribly difficult to rebuild, but once you get into it, you either fix it or ruin it, and it's expensive to
So
ruin it.
some guys will just make a phone call and order a new pump.
Yeah.
Tear it apart and fix
I
it.
figure it's not my money, so if I ruin it, what the heck?
And one other thing with the sewer going through, Dave and I are also meeting with Pat Nicoletta Friday morning. We're going to go through some grant opportunities based on the I&I study that we gave years ago. We did do one, came through, we went through the village, we found some inflow and infiltration areas. Dave went through, highlighted, let's say, 10 areas that we prioritized, and we think there's going to be something we should go looking forward to. So we're going to meet Friday to see if we can put together a grant opportunity, something small, because obviously with our projects we've had down there, we don't want to get another big thing coming through. But if we can get an 80-20 grant and something for a couple $100,000, like a 20, or something to that extent, I think it'd be a good opportunity to help with the inflow, so we're not hitting 500,000 gallon peak case, as long as the board wants us to pursue this. So I'm assuming we do, being that we did the grant, the study and everything else, but we just wanted to bring it up to make sure you guys are aware. We are going to meet with Pat to see what we can do with that.
You'll be doing that before 9 o'clock.
That's what we're hoping for.
I'm in favor of being proactive like that, especially in this case. I know we have a dearth of reserves for this, but it is certainly something that makes sense long term. Again, this actually goes back to the issue of flooding, that we have the same issue. So I noticed the electric bill was double.
Yeah, I called the electric company
I
on
think
that.
everybody in the room understands at their own home that the electric bill this past month may have jumped as well. Will that affect our budget moving through the rest of the year?
I'm not sure, I think I can get away with this one and not worry about it too much. It depends on where it goes from here. I called the electric company on that, and basically, just to find out if it was something with me running equipment during the day where it was on peak hours or something, and it wasn't. It was just my base rate went from 9 cents a kilowatt hour to 24 cents a kilowatt hour. And apparently, the closer you got to the Canadian border, the higher that rate jumped.
Yes.
So I don't know what it's gonna be this next, but yeah, I wasn't really ready for that. I'm hoping to end this year with a little bit of money left in my budget so I can get some of these parts reordered, but if the electric bill keeps going like this, I'm not sure. I got everything turned off that I can. I'm running pumps as little as I possibly can. This wet weather does kill me because the pumps do have to run more to maintain the plant's flow with all of this water coming through. I did go out these last 2 weeks a little bit here and there. I got some more equipment in so we can start patching up some of these manholes, some of the smaller leaks that are manageable for our side of it. I'm hoping by the end of this month to determine if this is something doable for us. If it is, I'll have to do a little more research and get into some of the combined space training so we can do this, the appropriate way and everything the way it should be. But I just want to make sure it's something feasible that is approachable for us to handle.
Is this a wet patch concrete type application that you're considering, or is it some kind of epoxy, or is it just leaving?
All of the above. This last one was a pretty substantial leak in a manhole up on Rainbow Lane. It was basically hydraulic cement. Some stuff we had sewer plants, a little bit fancier. It's got some additives and stuff in it. That was hydraulic cement. I just ordered in a case of injectable hydrophobic epoxy. I think that's what it's called. A whole set for doing a small amount of that. It's kind of more of a homeowner version. You can't get into some really expensive setups for doing this, but I think that's kind of getting out of our wheelhouse for what's doable. But if I can get a few of these smaller things and at least keep some of these manholes from degrading anywhere, so it'll be good at saving some effort at the sewer plant.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're taking confined space training we have, because that's a safety concern, and we want to make sure we're compliant and keep you guys 100% safe.
Yeah, we've done some of the basic intros to it, but yeah, very good.
Good deal.
Thank you, David.
Appreciate all your hard work. Thank you again. Our code enforcement officer is not with us tonight, but I'll encourage the board to review his report. I believe he's taking some classes. Alyssa?
Yeah, he's at training.
He's had some training for code enforcement officers, so we thank him for his dedication.
Just real quick, because I was doing Charlie's report, he does have just a brief mention about an issue with the dogs on House Street. So I did put a letter of one of the residents, brought in a letter for each one of the board members, so you can read that. It's in the front of your folders, so. You don't have to read it now, because they're not here, but, yeah, but just to know that it's in there.
Excuse me, thank you.
The only comment I have in the letter is that the licensing is actually the town of Lima, not the village.
Yeah, I did notice that, but, I think it's because they live in the village.
Sure. Misunderstanding, but.
Thanks for the side note. Very good. Ben, excuse me.
Yep. All right, we'll start off with the easy stuff here. One, Easter's coming up. The park, usually there's an Easter egg hunt
Yes.
going on down there. I'm not sure if it's the Rotary or the Legion.
Rotary and Legion combined.
Would we be able to make sure there's porta potties down there, because the bathrooms are not going to probably be ready for that, nor do we handle the functions for that. So if we do, porta potties should be put out in the parking lot, because like I said, we've done this with the 4th of July, the pumpkin festival, things like that. When we got a whole bunch of people down there, it just wreaks havoc on the bathrooms. We just went down, Terry and I just went down and replaced one of the toilets that was there from last year going through, and when we set a toilet on the concrete floor, and, yeah, exactly, there's a lot more work with these things when they're 40 plus years old, putting this in there. When we have the big functions, you know, people, we love the park and the bathrooms down there for what it is, and when you get a whole bunch of people down there, they're not very polite to them.
Yeah, for what it's worth, for the 4th of July, we've been putting 4 porta potties with 3 regulars and 1 handicap.
Yep.
We're upping it to 4 regulars and 1
That's what I'm
handicap.
saying. I'd like to see the same thing done for the Easter egg, because once again, I don't want to be turning water on and doing the park and the weather going up and
I'll
down.
make a call on Friday.
Thank you. Now, all right, next thing is, I've contacted Casella, I'm getting ready to do the village and town cleanup, which is gonna be coming up here the first weekend of May, coming through. I sent an email to Sean to let him know about the stuff coming through. Let him know I had to go through another person, they called me back today, we should be able to do everything. I gotta get with him because the town usually does the electronic recycling and stuff like that, so hopefully, once we let them know the dates, they can coordinate it with us and we can do a joint thing as usual. We'll be going out in the newsletter or something here shortly, once everything gets confirmed. But we are in the works of getting the village and town cleanup days are gonna be going on. Flower baskets, I found all the flowers are ordered, coming through, baskets are going over, so we'll have that set for May coming through. We, and John and some of the board members, we've got a meeting Friday with the county. We talked about Avon is having their water tower, is going to be getting rehab coming up this summer. They're going to be down for 4 to 6 weeks, so they want us to use the emergency line to feed them and supply this side of 390 Avon with water, which I believe we should be able to do. I've talked to a couple of the engineers. We're going to discuss it more on Friday, but I'm just making sure all the board members and everybody are aware of the meeting that we're going to have, you know, kind of thing, because any water leaks we have now, not only is it village in town, but it's Avon that I'm working with, so hopefully everything will be all right, and like I said, we'll discuss that more Friday. And I got our mower quote in, if you remember the past month or two, we've been talking about that. We've got a mower that's almost 10 years old. Usually we only try to keep them 7, because of budget constraints. You can't do that all the time. So I got it in. It is off one of the state federal bids that's on there. We usually do New York State, but there's so many different ones out there. So it's just over $12,000, which we have budgeted for next year. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, if the board approves it, order it somewhere in the next month or so. We'll receive delivery in mid-May, and the bill will be coming out of next year's budget, which we have the money for budgeted in. So just need an approval.
I'll make a motion that have the DPW order a municipal mower for up to $12,000.
Oh, well,
Give me a number.
13, it's all 13. It's all
Give me $13,000 on the next year's budget.
Can I have a second, please? All in favor, please. Opposed? So moved.
And other than that, that's all I've got for now.
I got a quick question on,
I got it.
what about those planters, the 4 planters?
Yep.
You guys will be planting it?
Yep, last year what we did is we put the same flowers that we had all the way around. We're gonna do the same thing this year as what the game plan is. I know we have a garden committee, garden beautification club. If they have some input and want to talk to me about it, we can try to accommodate them, but I will have enough flowers to do all the pocket parks, including the brain concrete parks.
Yeah, Susan Gator, I'll get you guys connected. She just wanted to be a part of help managing and whatever she can do for water fitting, what have you. Yeah, she's looking forward to that. I did request to move the 250th anniversary of the country for red, white, and blue flowers to be put in the planters, in the baskets. And I guess I'll go further that I'll also ask the business owners to put the red, white, and blue buntings. Thank you. We have a centralized order form from Amazon, and we're asking everyone to participate. At least put 1 bunting in front of their business. There's 3 foot, 4 foot, and 5 foot. It's up to their discretion, but I think it's just a nice way that we can beautify to welcome people when they come to our 4th of July event. So thank you for that, Ben. Does anyone have any questions for Ben?
then the sign goes down, and Michigan and Meadowview, it's just the connector.
It's already up.
Oh, already up.
It was up.
Okay, missed it this morning. Thank you.
Yep.
Got it. There's no more questions for Ben? Thank you. Ms. Alyssa?
Just a couple of things. So I'm gonna start working with our website, manager designer, to add a page specifically dedicated to the park. Seems like there's just constantly stuff that's going on with the park, and that's where when it's time to do the master plan, I'm gonna put the documents on there. That way everything is just all together. I'm also gonna work on creating a calendar specifically for the park, so I can also put on there the reservations, so residents can check another way if dates available. They still need to contact me to reserve the park. Just trying to help so that way if, office is closed, someone can still look out with that information. I know John had mentioned this to me earlier, that he had brought it up, but just also I want to bring it up too, that I do still want to do the front storage office for us to haul everything out, organize, and then decide what needs to be shredded, get everything put back together and put back in there. Honestly, if anyone could make time on a weekend, I think a Saturday would be best to have probably even all hands on deck to come in, help me. We can pull everything out, sort, and then get everything put back in there. So I think we can kind of narrow down a day sooner than later that we can get that all squared away. And then that works.
Labor.
April 6th, it's Monday at 7 o'clock. We have our organizational meeting. So we'll have two meetings in April, so just make sure that you mark that on your
Repeat
calendar.
that date again, please, Mr. Davis.
It's Monday, April 6th at 7 p.m.
That is Easter Monday,
Yes.
7 p.m.
And then we also have our regularly scheduled board meeting on the 14th. The budget meeting is on the 25th at 6 o'clock with representatives from Donegan's office. I did confirm that the budget books will be delivered prior to the meeting. It'll be your guys' responsibility to come and pick them up as soon as I get them. I'll make sure that I let you know as soon as I have them. They have everything. They're just doing their internal review on the budget right now, and then a representative from their office will drop the books off.
Excuse me, Alyssa, you said March 25th at what time again?
6.
I will see if I can get out a little early. That's a little late for me, so.
Do you need to push to 6:30?
I usually don't get out at 7, but if I can get out at 6, I can do that. I'll go in at 4 in the morning and come out. I can get here by 6:30.
Let me know as soon as you can.
Just do it at 6:30 and I can guarantee that.
Okay. So check with that. And also remember that's Wednesday,
Yep.
not Tuesday. And the meeting will be open to the public. And then the only other thing is you also have the budget sheets for expenses year-to-date through February in here to review. Once you review them, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm more than happy to explain it, or if you want anything more on a specific line item, I can put you on that as well. And then it's just their invoices.
We get a motion to pay the invoices in the amount of $112,620.18.
I'll make a motion to pay bills.
Do we have everyone's signature on here?
But you still have 4 on there. You've got 4. So,
Just want to see one
that's enough.
Okay, good. Then, we had a first motion, I'm sorry. Fine, second.
I'll second it.
And all in favor, please?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. I'll get this.
I take it back, I got one more thing. If you are going to take, the email that I had sent out, I said that you guys can obviously take your binders home with you. If you are going to take your binder home with you after the meeting, then you need to remove those applications. So, only if you're going to take it. If you're not going to take your book, then you can leave them in there and I'll take them out.
Got it. Thanks, Alyssa, for everything you do, again, keeping us above water. Can't tell you how much we appreciate your commitment to our community. Any other questions for Alyssa at this time? Great. Moving forward, we have board reports and committee updates. What Alyssa just mentioned, that our organizational meeting is going to occur after the election, and what that is we have certain committees and liaisons that trustees are appointed to help report back to the board and kind of just have a feeler on what the community is doing in different aspects of nonprofits, our departments, with respect to ambulance, fire department, seniors, DPW, you name it. We try to be a part of it and try to be the voice here at the board meetings through the different liaisons. My commitments are the water and sewer planning and construction. Ben already mentioned to you that we're going to be having a meeting with Avon, so I won't repeat that. That's coming up on Friday. We're currently active with Dave. I've worked with Dave. It takes time to stop in and talk to him about the infiltration I&I. He's already been proactive with that. We're grateful for his looking into that. I also looked into law and order. I would think and hope that the community would recognize that Livingston County has much more of a presence in Lima lately, including the state police. They're doing a lot more patrols, especially in the Elm College Street area. I see some nods in the community, and I'm glad that you see it. I'm not always...
Got pulled over for a headlight out last night.
Sorry to hear.
She checked my license and let me go.
Okay. The guys are not out there for blood. You know, they're not out there to try to meet quotas. They want to make sure that we maintain a safe community. And since we've dropped the speed limit signs in the school zone, I think it's made a significant difference, because a lot of the mornings that I go out, I'll just park on the side of the road or someone's driveway and just watch and just observe. And I do see that the teachers and the parents that were doing the drop-offs, that were hauling buns from 5 and 20 down through College Street across Elm, are definitely slowing down a little bit. So I'm glad to see it's making some kind of positive impact. And in speaking to the residents on that street, they seem to agree. So I'm glad we're seeing that. Not only on the school area, but up and down 15A and 5 and 20. So a lot of the tractors that are coming down 5 and 20 from the Avon area, they're barreling down at 55, 65, and then they got to hit 30. We'll be working with the town and DPW to try to get a decrease in the speed limits, to try to get them from 55 to 40, maybe then to 30. But we'll work hand in hand with them. This, and the same way from the south side coming from Hemlock. It'll be safer for everybody involved. And the county sheriffs have been more than compliant. I was just really impressed that they did respond, because a lot of times they make a couple calls and then you gotta wait. And within a week's time, they were there. So I gotta watch my speed limit too. And my headlights. Check your tail, check your license plate light. My son got busted for that.
That's so funny.
License plate. Who looks at that? The news and PR is also something that I deal with, and recently we had a couple months or so ago, we had Noah Coughlin come through, who was running across America to support and show support for the flag, which I thought was amazing. And the aftermath of supporting NOAA, when we had a lot of news anchors here and put Lima on the news, was interesting, because I'm getting calls from mayors of all across his journey. As far deep as in Michigan, in Ohio. So what did you do? How did you welcome him? How did you contact him? So it's kind of neat that Lima's on the map, not because of NOAA coming through, and those are kind of the little things that make a difference. We start making a little noise in Lima, they're going to start to wonder who we are, where we are, and what we're all about. And I'm proud to represent us that way. The downtown revitalization is coming up. I'm going to have Erica join me at the next meeting. And basically what it's talking about is different ways that we can find to encourage economic expansion, economic impact. I think what we do to beautify the downtown district and to draw attention to our festivals is key to showcasing Lima. and the park being one of our hidden gems is another way. So I'm really grateful for the Legion, for Ben and his crew, and the town crews doing what they do to keep it beautiful. Not to mention just the downtown in general. You know, the streets are plowed when it snows. The sidewalks are salted, allowing people to come. I get compliments from people in Geneseo and in Bath that come here just for a cup of coffee at Milk and Honey, or they come down to go to the Wee Shop, and there's snow everywhere, but they have access. They got a place to park, and they got a place to walk safely. So, you know, we're doing the next right thing, and we still got to do better. There's more room for improvement, but one step at a time. So thank you for all of our crews. Let's see, what else have I got here? Oh, fiber optic. I keep in touch with the fiber optic folks with Empire. I seem to have had very positive compliments on the services they're providing, and you know, I encourage any of the residents that have experiences anything less than great to reach out to me or to reach out to Empire. They have an outstanding customer service department that are very kind, speak very clearly and concise, and they've always been very courteous to any requests that I've had. So I encourage you, if you haven't inquired in fiber optic with Empire Access, you can contact me, call me, or you can just go online and they'll see if anybody in the village is going to be in the service area, because everyone has access to connect to it. It's very affordable and the service is impeccable. I've got 2 gaming kids, and I see Eric Baker over here just giving me a thumbs up. I got 2 kids that are heavy gamers, and we've got 4 or 5 or 6 devices on at one time, and I've never had a blip in service. I think we've been out of service twice, but for a total of maybe 10 to 20 minutes at a time. And if you call, they call back, like quickly, and they're really responsive. So that's kind of all I have. I have been very active outside of my regular liaisons for committees with trying to get reimbursement for our SAM grant. Back in 2018, we applied for a SAM grant in the approximate amount of $250,000, which the town also had a part of that deal to upgrade our water pump system at the pump house. Correct, Ben?
Yeah, 14.2%.
There you go. And we still have not been reimbursed. I got approached by the senator's office saying that they were going to try to settle. But first of all, they said, well, we got $100,000 for you. And I thought, okay, that's great. Is that a contingency payment? And then we're going to expect the rest? No, glad I asked, because had we accepted that, that was the end of the deal. So I contacted the governor's office, and I talked to their Finger Lakes representative. He said that it's kind of twisted up into the Senate Appropriations Committee, and that the money is kind of frozen. They're trying to release it. So my ask from the community is, this is your taxpayer money. You know, this is money that you put in that should be back in our reserve funds. And if you have any connections with your elected officials, this actually comes from the Senate majority, which is the Democratic-run majority in Albany that's holding the money, and they're coming to meetings here real soon. But if you have a way to reach out to your elected officials, as I've done, please do so, and see if there's any way that they can ask for them to release the funds, and let them know to contact me if they have any questions. Because I'm stuck, and it's our money, and we deserve to get reimbursed for it.
John, how long has that been going on?
2018, since 2018. So, it's not a left or right. It's just who's in majority, and there's a matter of we should be able to reach out to our elected officials that are in office, and should be able to make some noise with it. So everyone deserves. Everyone, I'm asking to make some noise.
John, how do we do that? How do we highlight the letter so that we can identify the purpose?
I will create a form letter and try to put it online, or anyone that's interested can reach out to me and I can forward it by email. And I think the easiest thing was to create a letter and have a lot of people sign it, and then we can forward it to the appropriate elected officials in Albany. So I'll get on that real soon. I'll have that at least ready and accessible for our next meeting. That's all I have at this time. Next, I'd like to ask Mr. Smith to report on his committees.
All right. So a couple of things, something that's really not a committee issue, but I did put in a grant for an Empire State Service Corp It is a program where a college-age student is paid to work with municipalities as an intern, 20 to 29 hours a week for 10 weeks. I haven't heard back from that, but the idea is that in the request was that it would give Alyssa an assistant to help with our public notifications for the village and all of the organizations that are in the village. So helping with the GoGov app as well as Facebook. So that I'll let you know if and when a match is made, and that should be in the month of May. So, but I'll let you know about that. As a representative to the Lima Golden Agers, we meet on the first Tuesday of the month at noon at various locations. If you're 55 years or older, you're eligible to be in the Lima Golden Agers, so I encourage you to consider that. If you're, there's a good group of your neighbors who want the very best for our community from a perspective of being a little bit older than not everybody in this room. So
I would also mention that Ben is your liaison with that.
Yes, so Ben is also there, so on every Tuesday. So I'm liaison with the Crossroads Festival. We are in monthly meetings. Currently, the festival is a 4-day event, bringing over 18,000 people to the village in the first weekend of August. Usually it's the last few days of July and the first weekend of August. We have continuing our plans at the moment. We meet every month. If you're interested in joining that organization, reach out to me. We'll put you to work. Actually, the mayor already answered. I had personally attended the town meeting with Supervisor Kate requesting traffic calming from the south and the west. I believe we'll continue to work on that as a joint village and town endeavor. But they are state roads, and we're working on understanding the process, which, because they're state roads, is either going to be very easy or very, very, very laborious. And if we know New York State, it will probably be really laborious. So we are working on that. That was a safety issue. I'm meeting with an IT meeting that the mayor also mentioned with Dan Marcellus to go over our upgraded information technology needs. We have a plan that will be part of our budget discussions that will include improvements in both security and redundancy. It does include working with the town to reduce the cost for both of our boards. So we are working through that plan currently. So that's something we're working on. The other part is the Parks Commission. I'm going to let Trustee Dodgewood talk about some of that, and we'll tackle that part. So if you wanted to go together.
The Parks Commission has given the town and village boards 1 month to review the proposed master plan update. Tomorrow, the Parks Commission will reach out to the community for a select committee of residents to review the plan and make suggestions. When the committee is ready, about 2 or 3 months, the Parks Commission will present the plan to the Lima community in a series of meetings and forums. Having said that, I wanted to compliment Erica by the way she's gathered this, what do we call it, the community
Connectivity.
Connection
meeting.
Community connected.
Remind us when that will be, the next meeting.
This Saturday,
This
10
Saturday,
a.m.
at 10 a.m. in Lima Diner.
No, it's.
Oh, right here.
Tuesday.
Yes, thank you.
So,
Is that it, Brian?
Well, the master plan is something that's been worked on by the Parks Commission, which is, I'll remind people in the room, is a joint town and village commission. The master plan update, which is not an actual master plan, but an update, has been disseminated to all the village and board and town board members for comments. The next is we have decided since then the makeup of the committee. The select committee will be 2 to 3 village residents, 2 to 3 town residents, 1 immediate neighbor to the park. It will be a person who has an arborist, a parks architect, two of our neighbors from the religious community, one that basically covering all the religious communities, and one from Crossroads Church, because they are neighbors and utilize their parking space so much. We are open to suggestions. As we open it up, it'll be on Facebook, the village website. Thank you, Alyssa, for having a separate place for people to go. From the town standpoint, if you're a town resident only, not a village resident, you can reach out to the town members or Steve Warner and Ron Blodgett.
I might also just caveat that with the reason that there is a Parks Commission is because the town and the village used to meet on a quarterly basis or on an as-needed basis when the previous supervisor was in leadership. And when I came in, it was like they couldn't get anything done because the two groups would make decisions collectively. So this way, by appointing members from both town and village, they can meet on a monthly basis, either once or twice a month, and get stuff rolling. So the reason you see so much activity and things happening in a positive way at the park is because this group from the town and the village have been created so that they can be proactive more often than just waiting on a quarterly basis. So it's really worked to the advantage of the community. There's a lot of positivity and things that are moving along, including the playground equipment, inclusivity equipment, the new roofs in some of the buildings, and we've got a lot more. It just takes a lot of money. So keeping and supporting the events that are going on at the park, whether it's the 4th of July. By the way, the 4th of July event, vendors will be donating we got craft vendors that will be donating $25 per 10 by 10 unit or a space. We're looking at anywhere from 20 to 40. It all depends on how things come closer to the 4th. I've got 5 food trucks. Each food truck donates a minimum of 10% to 15% of their gross sales. It's been, what did we do last year, about $800, right? $800. So we don't charge them a service fee to come and join us, but all of them understand that there's going to be a complimentary, a gesture of donating to the park. So there's little ways that we're going to impact the park. So, and the park's been left in really good condition over the last 7 years. So the volunteers have done a great job. This year, the Sesquicentennial group with the Be Well, we're organizing a parade, a car cruise, some skits from the Daughters of the American Revolution. We'll have karaoke with a DJ. We'll have live music from HFL, either the jazz band or a quartet that's being made right now, being collected, because the kids are out of school, so it's tough for them, and a lot of the teachers are out of school and on vacation. So we're trying to pick and choose where we can, but a lot of great things with the park. So thanks for letting me hear that.
And one other thing to add for historical reference, when the park was created in the 1980s, the original covenant required that the town and the village split the costs and operations of the park 50-50. So that's the basis of the entirety of the process that is now in function. So.
Right.
I think that's important.
Ms. Kelly had a question.
Excuse me, go ahead.
I just wonder how you're selecting people for that committee.
So when we get a number of people who apply, we will.
How will you be putting it out that there's people identified?
Well, like I said, we'll put it on Facebook through the Parks Commission. We'll put it on the village website. The town will have opportunities to put it out. I can't speak for the town, but you can also contact either myself, Van Dodwick, Ron Blodgett, or Steve Warner. Our emails are all on our.
No, I just wonder how you're selecting.
The selection will happen amongst the Parks Commission in order to have a balanced and group of select. We're looking at between 12 and 15 people because as we grow from a small group of the commission into a select committee of people have strong ties to the park and professional abilities that will lend themselves to this. This is the same process that happened at the original master park plans and each of the other two subsequent updates. So we're following the same pattern.
And then why are churches getting?
Well, one, because again, we're following that same pattern. One, was, we have a church member, in fact, it was Ben Godwin, who was a representative of the religious community. The other is specifically Crossroads Church because of their very close connection with our events and the fact that.
I understand that, I just wondered why they're in the city of religious.
Well, there will also be from, and I failed to mention this, representatives from our festivals as well, the ones that use the park. So the Pumpkin Festival will have a representative.
But then the reason for having the religious community has to do with the park commission.
It just so happens that Ben is on the Parks Commission and has a association and with religious fellowship, and then using the Crossroads Church. One of the gentlemen happens to be an architectural engineer or
By profession?
yeah, by profession.
Yes, I
And
believe.
we use their parking lot, for
I
parking.
understand that.
And again, we are trying to get representation from the entire community, which part of our community's flavor is our religious institutions. So we have private people, and we'll have different representation groups. And Eric, you have a question?
Well, I still want to make a comment, Brian, because this is from last month. It was obviously that it wasn't heard from your very upset group of residents that, again, it seemed very controlling that, you guys are picking and choosing who will be able to sit on this board. And when I know we've had somebody say, hey, I want to do this, I want to be a part of this, people who live on Parkside, I know Chris and I had wanted to be a part, and we were told we can't because it would create a quorum and things of that nature, which I don't know why that's an issue. So my concern
We
is...
can have Matt, would like to fill in why that's an
Won't you
issue?
finish what you're saying, Erica?
Well, no, I thank you. Yes, thank you, Brian.
Trying to answer your question.
It is my turn to talk to you. No, this is like a broken record every month, and nothing changes. And obviously, members of our community want to be involved, and it still feels very controlled. There's a lot of issues still about the O'Brien's property, and I'm out yesterday, there's going to be a road put in next to my house. There's still an issue with that. So, and I will refrain about how this will be communicated until I get to my portion tonight, because that's where there's a great concern. But again, I'm going to continue to speak out that this just doesn't feel that it's really community-based, it's control-based.
May I interject? I mean, what I just heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, I just heard that there's an application process.
We've had two applications.
He just said it was going to be posted on the website.
So I know of two applications at this point.
Okay, but I haven't seen the application. Does anybody else have it?
Where do you pick up this application?
Yeah.
You make an application, you say, dear Ben, I would like to be considered for the select committee of the Parks Master Plan. That's simple. And if you would like to say, these are my qualifications or my interests, that would be even more helpful for us.
How are you letting people know that?
It's been announced in several points. We are in a process.
Where is it announced?
Again, it's my turn to speak.
Real quick, we have public comment
That's
on
right.
here, and I feel like this is getting a little off track right now, so can we just go back to the agenda and then we can address that at public comment?
At that time, thank you. We're still going.
I'm sorry, it's just we're beating a dead horse right now and it's driving me
Well,
nuts. So I think that we need
Good point.
to stick with our topics and then we can go to the public comment section.
Okay, continuing with, Brian, you're done with your
I
committee?
believe that, Ben, did you have additional issues
Okay.
discussed?
Then we'll continue with trustee Erica.
Okay, so I'm on the summer rec program. That's one of my committees, and they really only meet once a year. But we do touch base every month. As you know, the summer rec program over at Honey Lake Falls, Lime Schools, is in, the registration process is in progress since January. 197 campers currently. Last month I announced that they were looking for staff. Applications have been submitted and they're starting to interview those folks this week. And just to be aware that the registration closes on May 1st. And if you have any questions, their number is 624-585-624-7068. And for a parent to pay for their child to go, it's $679. And I also just want to comment that Lima, as a village, we do subsidize that, so there's a payment.
Is there transportation for kids from Lima to get?
You know, there isn't that I've ever heard, but that's a good point, I can find
It used to be
out.
in Lima.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know they have Cougar Care before and after for an additional fee, and lunch is also provided for an additional fee. That I think, yeah, but as far as
I don't think they do that anymore. They used to be in the bus, I don't think they do that anymore.
How many kids are, actually, or families are participating?
Well, right now, there's 197 campers, but 118 are all signed up for 6 weeks.
Nice.
All right, and then the ambulance already said my piece, except, I think Chief Rhodes is very humble, but Evelyn Rhodes, her daughter, who is 17 years old, was selected from the Monroe County Instant EMS as Youth ERT Provider of the Year. So she got that. And Dominic Moscato, who is the Assistant Chief of the ambulance, he was nominated. I submitted the nominations for these folks, and he was nominated, but unfortunately didn't get selected. But he will be honored as well as that May 2nd. So it's very impressive, obviously, for our ambulance. We're very blessed.
Anything else?
Not bad. Enough to say in the next.
Shade tree, any movement on that?
Well,
I know we've got Arbor Day coming up, but I didn't know who's going to be handling the,
Well, we-
Erica, do we, or the list?
I ordered a, well, Ben and I are on that shade tree committee, and we're still trying to kind of tease out. I'm hearing that money's only to cut down trees, and I don't, so
The
I'm
shade
not
tree
cutting the
committee,
trees.
right, the shade tree committee was separate entity coming
Yeah.
through.
Right.
And we have a shade tree company that was for the removal and planting of trees.
No,
I'm
I'm
thinking
referring,
to plant some trees, but I'm not here.
I was referring more to Arbor Day, which is not related to the shade tree, but
Exactly, and I don't know, I thought, who's on that?
How's that?
Aren't you
So,
on?
again, I'm happy to lead through that. It's April 25th is Arbor Day. We give tradition of handed out seedlings at the park.
did we agree on 75 was the
We
number?
did.
And then that order. And then I talked to the DEC to see about any kind of program. Unfortunately, their educator who covers 8 to 10 counties in New York State already is committed to something going on in Clarksville and Rochester.
What day was that again, please?
April.
There it is. Got it.
Ben, were you able to make any headway on the village list of prohibited trees? My understanding, again, from last month, when I asked was that elm trees, all elm trees are prohibited for being planted in the village. There are at least three that I know, varieties of elm tree that are resistant to the Dutch elm disease. Were we able to at least move forward on that? So my suggestion is that we edit that list to include these three that I know of that are resistant to Dutch elm disease. The purpose being that is the traditional liberty tree that is, we're trying to plan for the 7th of September.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we will need to make an edit to our prohibited tree list, and an educated and smart edit to that.
John Case, did you have anything
Yeah,
to add?
John Roberts in the back there.
I guess I don't know where this prohibited tree list.
Yeah.
It's a village, not a town.
Yeah.
When the
Well,
town
it's 6
planted,
feet though, I can find
yeah,
it.
my understanding is when the town planted the elm tree in front of the town hall here, I was told to the town that that's a prohibited tree after it was planted. So, again, for the list,
Well, I guess my point is, if you're gonna put a list of prohibited trees based on every tree that can get a disease, we So cut that down.
We should add Ash.
Ash, you know, like you're gonna get down on a lot of trees.
Yeah, again, as you know, we deal with laws and policies that our forebears have handed to us, so I just want to try and avoid an issue.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I searched the code online, I didn't see anything about prohibited trees in the village code. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, so.
Thank you, I'm investigating, or asking to investigate that.
All right, anything else, Ms. Solicitor, Erica?
No.
Okay,
But you are right, Brian, there are at least 3 varieties of them that are resistant almost entirely to vegetable.
Thank you.
Got it. Going on to old business on the fitness court update, please.
So I know, Brian, this is directed towards you. In December of '25, you came to the board and presented that you were interested in obtaining our approval to continue with a grant for $35,000, which was going to be given by MVP. I think you had a deadline, you were going to submit that by December 12th.
Yes.
And I know at that time you had talked a little bit about putting a fitness court in the Tubbs Park, a 38 by 72. And then I followed up with a lot of information and concerns regarding that. So I know you said that the cost would be for us would be $300,000. And minus the 35, that's like $265,000. And you said that we had till June of 2026 to come up with that money, otherwise, and I'm asking you this, otherwise that would be null and void. And then I remember, Nat, you mentioned something, could we get out of some contract, you know, if we couldn't come up with that money? So then, I know, Brian, you said you were going to be, literally you said, I remember saying, you're going to go door to door, asking doctors, whomever, for money. So I wanted to know where things were at regarding that, particularly because we're coming up on our budget, and, you know.
Sure, no, good question. I have a meeting,
Yeah.
I have a meeting tomorrow, a video conference call with Stephanie Coates from MVPL. The $35,000 grant comes with not just the money grant, it also comes with assistance with finding funding to make those matches. The biggest issue that we're facing now is that before we can move forward, we have to have a master plan for the park, and we're working on that. So that is a bedrock formula for making that happen. The preference is to have the funding by July of 2026. That's not a requirement. They do have smaller places like Lima, smaller municipalities that go more than 1 year, because again, that is a very short time frame. Larger municipalities have $300,000 sitting around. The $300,000 is the maximum number, just so you know. It is scalable in reverse, so that could be a total of $200,000 for the entire project. But we need to have that as part of our master plan, and whether that is going to be something that fits or not. So, any other questions?
The only other thing again is, and I brought that up back in December, that I had never heard, and nobody's ever come to me about wanting an outdoor fitness park in Lima, New York. So again, it's about communicating to our community, our taxpayers, about, you know, do we even want this? Is this a waste of time? Is this something you want? And that's why are you pursuing it because of that? So again, I think before you would go off on this incredible journey to try to attain this, shouldn't we hear from the people that live here about, do we even want this? Otherwise, what a waste of time, energy.
Okay, well, Erica, I've been on the board for now 5 years, and I know you've only been in for a few months.
Well, that's
Well, no, but you should, allow me to please. I've heard from many residents that they want to have an opportunity to have fitness centers in the village. Those have not come to fruition for very good financial reasons. I'm sure that the mayor's heard the same thing. So the opportunity for us to have a funded, free-to-use by all residents fitness facility is what we're working at.
I think the key term here is fully funded. And we're not looking to.
Which I absolutely said in the beginning.
Yeah, we're not looking to use taxpayer money to fund this. So if it's fully funded and something reasonable to consider, we do need public input on that. There would be an opportunity here for that to be shared. So,
And that will be part of the discussion on the master plan.
Well, there's more to consider other than that, the environmental issue.
100%.
You know, so,
100%.
and I don't want to take up, because we've got still a lot more to do here, and, but thank you for the update on that.
Good. Any other question about the old business? Moving along to new business, we have a private park access on Rochester Street.
Yeah, so I put that on. Chief Gary, Chief Gary and I, Charlie, and the owner of the upper deck had a very productive meeting here last week about the upcoming spring and summer season, and we've had ongoing conversations with them over the years about tents and things like that. So we talked about what their plans were, what the code requirements were, and a very productive meeting. As part of that meeting, Chief Gary, who is the owner of the property, as you guys know, there is a little winding paved path that goes into the parking lot behind. It is a village parking lot. It winds its way to Rochester Street. That path cuts across. It's Chief Gary's property, totally. The village is kind of right away behind the village. It's been kind of an informal agreement where the bank said that kind of little sidewalks there. But I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, the plan going forward might be to eliminate that walkway. It's not our decision to make, it's the chief's property. So I just wanted to let the board be aware of that. That might be coming down the line. Because you know that bumps our pocket park as well, so we'll have to figure out how that works actually. But it was all towards getting the upper deck able to do what they need to do and also respect the rest of the community. So, like I said, I thought it was a very positive meeting, and Chief, you can, I'll go ahead anything, but.
Yeah, I mean, just the right of way, has been something that that did exist prior to 1990. But in 1990, with the transition of property between the village and at the time, the owner, my father, that Lake Street, which provided a 10-foot right-of-way, in between the decorator's workshop building, because Lake Street used to go from the public parking lot out onto Rochester Street. You could actually drive there. When they redid the roads 30 years ago, the state eliminated that access, put the sidewalk in there because the road intersection was too close to the Four Corners intersection. It was dangerous. But Lake Street still essentially existed there, but there was no access out on Rochester Street. When the village went to sell the village fire department, the old firehouse there, they found that they couldn't do it because they had actually built a portion of the firehouse on my dad's property. So what they did was say, hey, we'll give you Lake Street as to expand your property 10 foot there and take it up the edge of the decorator's workshop. And my dad gave the village 10 feet of essentially property along the edge there so that they could sell the village firehouse. So it was a 1-for-1 exchange where no money was exchanged. But the public, so to speak, right away has kind of remained to exist in there. But there is no village right away or easement of property in there. It was in 1990 when this was filed between my dad and the mayor, Pete Mandel. I think it says, yeah, Pete Mandel. But it ceased to exist in any type of right away or easement in there. Now the problem is that there's no ability for her to extend her liquor license into that property because there's that path that goes through there. So we just want to clean that up a little bit and, potentially just to close that off, maybe extend one more panel on the pocket park so that it doesn't appear to be public access through there. So that's, the first step is just to say, okay, acknowledge that there is no public access. Because my concern is that, somebody goes through there, because I get calls all the time in the winter, hey, why are you not plowing that sidewalk area? Why are you not putting salt down? Somebody's gonna fall, I'm not required of anything because it's not a public access. So now you're telling me precluded because if somebody does go by there and fall, it could be liable. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, if you recall, I think it was last year, we had conversations with the state liquor authority, and we were talking about that sidewalk, and it was never that we had it right away. It's that once you hold a path out as a public access, whether it's on private property or not, you contact the that's kind of the issue. And they also, they ran into a lot of trouble with the liquor authority and things like that, so I thought, you guys came to us and suggested this, so you can just dig it up and put it out of that, so yeah, I think it would make it a lot cleaner, get it all, it's not big.
So Ben, do we have additional material to extend that fence to the wall where the mural is?
We don't have extra fence at the shop, no, we have to go purchase it and do it.
If we extend it out, is it going to go into the mural at all? I'm not sure how it goes.
Thank you for asking that.
Yeah, it kind of blocks out, it would block the mural.
I don't think it has to necessarily go all the way to the wall. It just has to go stop to a point where it's clearly not an access. If it stopped a couple feet short.
Maybe a slope fence down.
I mean, just to put the village in the vetting requirement, and really your requirement, the state liquor authority requires you guys to do.
I mean, the state says, I can basically put a piece of fence up there, like is currently there, but the village might be interested in making something more, a little aesthetically.
I still would like people to have access to appreciate the mural that we invested into, long term. What's the other, the eastern perimeter of that parallels the village lot? What's going to be there? Is that still going to be open, or is that going to be a defined fence line like it was at one
So
point?
there is a defined fence line there now, it's just there's an opening in it so that people can go through there. And then in order to meet the requirements of the liquor authority, they'll just have a gate on it, so people can still, but they're accessing the bar property, not, they're not able to go through. They'll have a gate on the eastern side and the western side will be closed off.
How will there be anything limiting people access to the back of the normal barbecue? Because his smokers there.
I mean, there's nothing to limit access. I mean, it's not public access right now. You can't go in the back of the normal to access the restaurant. You have to access from the front. The workers access the backside, but that's not a public entrance. That just leads strictly into the kitchen. But that won't affect his ability to get in.
Thank you, number one, for the history lesson, because we deal with this frequently, moving from the past into today, trying to talk about things. My only specific concern is there is an egress door on the side of the building. That will remain ability to use as emergency egress.
And I don't even think that is an actual. I mean, there is a door there.
There's a door there.
It's not an actual.
I know it's not an active.
It's not an emergency exit.
Right, it's not an actively used entrance. I don't know what the requirements are for the restaurant, in the number of egress, and to be safe, it goes into the kitchen. So that's just a concern, whether it's a valid concern or not, I'm bringing it up.
And I'm sure, and I have to ask the question anyways, I know there's a fire escape coming off the back of the building that parallels that wall behind the Second Temple. If there's going to be any kind of tents or structures that will be put up there, is that going to impair evacuation routes or fire accessibility, things like that?
I mean, even what they've had before, it's never impeded the bottom of there's a landing there that people can.
We discussed whatever the plan is, we discussed the guy that goes into the planning board, and they know the process.
Okay. Well, it's your property.
Right, it's a property.
That's a pretty simple statement. So thank you for sharing with us a doable plan that we can work with, and we'll happy to move forward with you.
What's the next step, Matt?
We don't do anything, it's really up to you guys.
Right, and now I'll plan to, in the coming weeks, to physically block it off. And then if the, the village wants to do something more aesthetically pleasing, some type of sloped or fence extending the pocket park, so, we can work with that.
Yeah, we'll take that. The village is blocking out here a lot of space, so we'll figure something out.
Appreciate it. Any communications?
Yeah, so, this is a two-part. I want to make sure Richard and Mary have a copy of it. I wanted to make sure Richard was here in the background.
Would you like us to go on to the next budget and then come back?
We can come back to it if you like.
Okay, that's for time. Go ahead.
So there's budget discussion is the next on the new business.
So we heard about the village is going to seriously go on budget issues. So, I thought it was a good idea to put it down there and see if there's budget discussion take place.
Yeah, there's been some better open lines of communication or improved lines of communication within requests for those concerned. And there's, I think we got enough clarification now that there will be any line items that needed preliminary discussion. We, Alyssa's is available, I'm available, and the other board members that have more time on the board, including Ben, can discuss or help explain. But the standard procedure for our budget review is basically waiting. If we have urgent issues, we talk about them beforehand. My responsibility is primarily, because the only line issues we have in change are insurance, payroll for employees, and fire and ambulance. Ambulance has had no request for change or increase in the budget for this year. The fire department had moderate change and increase within reason, and I've discussed that with the town, and we are on board in making a decision to help supplement the needs of the fire department on a 5-year scale. So it'll be broken up over 5 years and be less impactful to the taxpayers. And that's pretty much it. But moving into the budget season, when we have our workshop, the Donegan's office people, the owners and the clerks, have an live in time projection up on our screen. So any kind of modifications or recommendations that we have for budget increases, decreases, or moving funds can be in time. We can see the impact it's going to have on the bottom line tax dollars, so and the percentages. So we'll be able to review that at that time. We'll have an open meeting forum. The work session is public, so you can come and observe and be brought up to date. It is not engageable. It's just a silent appreciation to let you see what's going on. And then that's not definitive. Once we do the work session, then it will be refined and presented to us so that we can have a public hearing and then accept the budget as before. So the beautiful thing is that Donegan's been doing this for a long time for us, and Alyssa and Ben have a lot of experience, especially Alyssa, seeing all the bills and the accounts going up and down, writing the checks. So
Well, you guys deal with bills.
well, we see the bills, but she writes the checks. But the fact is that the Donegan does all the work for us, and we basically have an opportunity to review that and see where we're strong, where we're weak, where we need to increase and decrease, and we can adjust the different levels of contribution on every given line item and see the real-time impact it's going to have with the taxpayers, which we're very considerate of, especially considering last year's impact. So I hope that gets some clarification. But I think once you go through it once, my first budget go-round and second and third budget go-round were terrifying, to be honest. I mean, because there's so many line items and they don't mean much until you start asking questions. So they were very patient with me, very patient with the new trustees to come in. And I think Josh and Ben and Brian can attest to that it's a relief and that you will be able to have a better grasp and understanding once the work session joins others.
Thanks, everybody. this is the budget for this year, 26. It is available online. If you'd like to review it, you're more than welcome to. Again, it is 20, 30 tabs of information, but it's worthwhile to look at it.
Just to follow up with that too, we're gonna put a lot of about Donegan's office. They are not going to make decisions for you. They will, but sometimes I know that if you want questions and stuff, they're merely here to plug the numbers and fix the numbers the way that you want. Anything else is all your discussion. That's all that they are going to do when they're here. So they're there, and they're not going to, they don't have any input on it or steer you one way or another. They're merely here to just change the numbers so you can see everything in real time and see what the tax calculation and how it affects and fund balance and things like that. So.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Clarification? We can move back to the community communications. Erica, you have the floor.
Yeah, so there's two major points that I make tonight, but I want to recall or refresh people's memory back then in November 2025, the board ratified after several months the late great Jonathan Still's inclusivity statement. And I just want to make a statement of a snippet of what it is. Inclusion is much more than a statement. It's a commitment that we as a community must all make to one another. We believe that true inclusion can only happen when everyone within our community feels seen, heard, represented, like they belong, and most importantly, safe. So out of that context, I'm going to be speaking about both of those. Okay. So the first one is extremely important. I'm here to advocate for people who don't speak English and perhaps are hearing impaired, a need for sign language interpreters. And I have two people from, Richard is from our community and Marilyn is someone who frequents Lima and participates in our historical society events and things of that nature. So she wanted to come tonight. So I'm going to talk specifically tonight about the need for sign language interpreters at our village board meeting and any public meeting, which would include budget, anytime we are going to present any information about our community. In April 2022, Governor Hochul enacted the New York State's current language access policy, and this is known as the New York State Language Access Law. It became effective on July 1st, 2022. Now, there were other versions of that prior to, so this is the most recent. And in that, it states that this law applies to state agencies, including villages, that provide direct public services, but local governments receiving state funding or interacting with state agencies are expected to adhere to similar standards. So covered entities must offer interpretation services in users' primary language, including American Sign Language. And just so you know tonight, and I'm saying this because this is how important this is, I hired Amy Walker here, who is a professional sign language interpreter, to come and be here tonight, out of respect for Richard and my dear Marilyn. Okay? And Charmaine would have been here, but she had another commitment. And I know there's another, so there are a pocket, I don't know if you know that, but there are several members of our community that are hearing impaired. And it does matter. And
accessible.
Thank you. Yes, and so from that aspect, if we don't provide it, we are really discriminating based on New York State human rights law. And according to the Americans with Disabilities Act, your village is legally required to provide a qualified sign language interpreter or other auxiliary aids like parked captioning, which could be very costly, For village board meetings to ensure effective communication, you must request this accommodation. This is if the person needs that within a reasonable time. There would be no cost ever to members of our community that require an interpreter, whether it's sign language, some type of Mandarin, whatever, Spanish, etc. So I'm coming before the board here tonight to make a motion, but before I do that, I wanted to see if either Richard or Marilyn would like to share with in the meeting here, any thoughts or anything you'd like to say about what it's like to not be included in a meeting, anything, feel free to do that, please.
Hi, my name is Richard. I live here in Lima, and I've been here since 2014. I have noticed since I've been here, people aren't really aware of deafness or who I am as a person, so I try to model good communication with other residents, and I do require an interpreter for formal meetings and things of that nature. And yes, interpreters are paid. If there's an issue or problem that I have, I contact the legal agency if I'm not provided those services. I am respectful knowing that it's tough for certain agencies and certain communities to provide that, but when I'm not provided an interpreter, it's very difficult. I really love living here. It's a quiet, beautiful environment. I really like it here and I want to be part of it. I used to live in Rochester for many years, and it was not really where I wanted to be. And I wanted to be out in the country in this area. And I found Lima, and I moved here, and I've been happy ever since. I'm able to manage here. I've been really happy here. I like the area, I know the area, and I'm comfortable with that. And, I've had several discussions when walking in the park different experiences here. And, she asked specifically, what is it like when you're not included? Like if there's a meeting you're not included, what is that like? Things like the Crossroads Festival or any festival we have in the community, any event, any meeting, I really do want to be part of it. I want to be part of the community, part of this, be a part of. In Rochester, there's much more, many more deaf people, but I want to spread the word and have them come here. You said something, Richard, about you had no interpreter or something happened? Yes, sometimes I do ask to have an interpreter provided, and many times I've run into the problem where an interpreter isn't provided. And I respect and understand budget issues. I know about ADA as well, and the law, and what my rights are. And that is very important to me. And it's important to provide an interpreter first, not for me, but for all of us, for you, for all of us to be able to communicate together. That's it. Thank you. Hi, my name is Marilyn, and I am from Rochester, Brighton specifically. Erica has really gotten me involved in Lima, the history of it, the beauty of it, festivals that happen here. There's lectures that I want to participate with, like the Historical Society. I want to have the same access as you do I want to, you guys can hear it, I want to see it, and I don't want to be behind in information. If there's no interpreter, I do feel left out. I don't know what's going on. I'm pretty clueless when I don't have an interpreter. And I've learned something, just like I want to learn just things like you do as well. Especially during festival times here. Maybe you have an interpreter, at tables, maybe something for emergencies. Just some kind of communication, somebody there if something happens. Just to increase accessibility in all environments. I could bring more deaf people here in this community to the wonderful events you have. Crafts, art shows, everything that happens here. I'd love them to come and experience it, but there's no communication and accessibility here, so that feeling of being left out is real. The more interpreters that are provided, the more people will come to this town. That's about it. You're welcome.
So, we don't have a choice. We do not have a choice. We're violating laws here, not only disrespecting people that are very vibrant and vital to our community. Charmaine isn't here. I know she was in the town, but my goodness, what event doesn't happen without Charmaine? She's acted everywhere, and Richard as well. And I know there's another person I've met, and I never see her, and it's sad because is she hiding out because she can't, participate, and that's not right. That's just not right. So I've worked through many years of signing. I am not a professional sign language interpreter, let me tell you, but I do my best, and I've done a lot of research. It is doable. I know money is a concern, but it is budget time. I think this is the perfect time. We need to really look at this. I don't know if we would have to go out and bid. I haven't figured out that process, but I already have it lined up that we could have Amy and another fantastic professional interpreter. They would every other month be here for the village board. So
Would you be willing to allow me to meet with you and potential interpreter so we can come up with a game plan so we can present it and its completion? Because I value Richard and Charmaine hugely. We always come to different events, and I feel bad that I can't completely communicate with them, and I feel that we should have an opportunity to do that. I do have a question for Richard, though, and for Marilyn. Is it Marilyn, was it?
Yeah, Marilyn.
That's a question.
Unrelated to having a signed interpreter here at the meeting, have they had an opportunity to look at the live broadcast, and can they use captioning when they can't attend the meeting?
Chris, can you talk to the caption?
Is it available on live, or does it
The acoustics in this room, it can work that way. It can, for the most part. Upstairs, it is not as good. It's
Are the
pretty
videos
horrible.
that you're broadcasting now have the live caption on it, or do you have to wait till it transfers to YouTube?
You have to wait until YouTube, so it's the day after, usually, depending on how busy Kelly is.
Over the question that I was asking the interpreter. I'm sorry.
You were asking the interpreter?
Her interpreter.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't.
I'm sorry.
You were trying to
I
catch up.
misunderstood. Thank you. No, you're fine.
Can I make a comment?
Well, you sure can, but, okay, go ahead.
No, again, if you want to finish, go ahead.
Well, I know Marilyn was next. She
Yeah,
wanted to
go
make
ahead.
another comment, please.
Two things I wanted to add. First of all, ADA means the American with Disabilities Act. And when you have an interpreter, You should have 2 interpreters if it's more than 2 hours. This is just kind of an additional policy kind of thing that interpreters do if it goes over 2 hours. And with the captioning, mostly the captioning, closed captioning is not really effective. It's hard to read, it's not accurate, and it's behind. With an interpreter, it's live, and there's facial expressions and feelings and gestures, you feel part of it. With captioning, it's just words, and it's very plain. It's not our language to begin with. It's not our national language, our native language. And co-captioning should be, they should design it differently so it's easier to read in general.
I didn't want to insinuate as an alternative to signing, but I was curious to see if it's of value.
If you need repetition or clarification on anything, that's not really doable with closed captioning, so.
Well,
Live interpreting is not one.
If you're willing, let's do this sooner than later.
Yeah, we have to.
I'll make my time available, and I'm talking about this weekend, if evening.
Okay, so yeah, so
If I could add,
So go ahead,
just a
Ron.
personal experience. The reason the dais here has been changed is because of my hearing impairment. When I don't see lips, I lose opportunity. I've been using Caption, which is a free text, speech-to-text app. It is horribly inaccurate in the upstairs. When anyone else speaks in the room, has a conversation, a silent conversation, or mumbles, it completely changes the accuracy of this. When I speak into it here, it's fairly accurate, maybe 90%. If you speak from over there, it drops to 80%. If someone has a comment or coughs over here, it drops to 60%. And upstairs, it's maybe 20%. Those are the technical issues. In fact, when the interpreter was speaking, because I can't read her lips, I had to depend upon Caption to clarify what she's saying. There are technological abilities. I spent 30 years in the hospital environment where interpretive services are required within emergency services immediately for every language in the country. There are opportunities to have Mandarin and Mongol, Southern Mongolese. They're from paid services. Interpreter services are required at this government level. Unfortunately, not at the festival level. It's not required. Certainly something we can work towards. I am not culturally deaf or physically deaf. I'm hearing impaired. A very different issue. But I do agree that we are required to provide, just like we have to have a elevator for someone who's movement impaired, we do require to have the ability to communicate with any person in our community. So
the standard is good to provide reasonable accommodation.
Typically, that's good.
The language actually doesn't apply to the building, but the ADA certainly does. But we have to provide reasonable accommodation on the cost. And I think the standard is the cluster has to be able to accommodate.
And I don't know the time frame at this level, all of this, but it's typically with a doctor's appointment. It's always there, but there is a reasonable accommodation, meaning that it has to be scheduled several days condensed. In emergency services, it's always there, but
I think you can put on a reasonable parameters, say, give us 48 hours, things like that. I think those are all things you can do under the law. So you don't have to have someone here.
I even do it longer than that, like 5 days to 7 days prior notice.
And what we've done is, like I checked with Richard, everything's set for tonight, so that if we didn't need an interpreter, then okay.
So they're very, it's obvious. I get the title, we did the candidate forum the other night, and Charmaine and Richard were there, and it broke my heart that they had to walk away and they had no interpreter. And he's voting in this election, so it's really pathetic.
Erica, at the voters forum, I was at the front with you, and I could only hear Dan.
I can hear
So
Dan.
personally, I could only understand what Dan and Josh were saying because they were right next to me. When it got even to well, not even Dan, actually it was Josh and Dan Proctor, but I got to Dan just down the hall there. I had to rewatch the entire thing, and the closed captioning was comical. It really was. So, again, the acoustics upstairs are poor. That doesn't help. So I empathize completely with them that it was a challenge.
I think Eric has a good sense of cost and the budget season.
I do.
Perfect timing.
And I'm telling you, it's not going to break the bank.
How much, just curiosity, for a month, what you
Well, if you're doing it at a meeting, it's like $55 an hour. That's cheap. When
But
you
you know what it
went
is.
through an agency, it would be easily $150 each person an hour. And that, but these good women here, Amy and the other person is Maggie Cleary, who she's been at many of my events that I've done. And I did, Hope, that was agency, and I had to take out of pocket. That I got really.
Now, can you ask our
$400.
interpreter if that because our meetings may be 2 to 3 hours, does she physically, I know that there are limitations to how long they can sign, because it's exhausting.
So, Amy, I don't know if you want to speak to that personally, or, but, I'm just going to say, well, no, you go ahead. No, I'm going to say that Amy and Maggie are so dedicated to creating, accessibility and honoring people that are deaf, hearing, and impaired, that, they said they could do this, so I don't know, Amy, you can
Amy,
speak to that.
how much in advance notice do you need for an event?
It really depends. I think, like Richard said, he would request like even 5 days a week ahead of time, so you had plenty of time to schedule an interpreter. In terms of like time, like he was saying, like over 2 hours, there's usually 2 interpreters, and we take turns. But I really want to get people to make and support everyone. You're welcome.
Bill?
Just as an election inspector, just want to let everybody know that we have accommodations at every election with a certain machine that they can use. So if they want anybody to come in, there's a special machine that accommodates anybody with hearing failures, any kind of disability at all. So.
Outstanding, great to know.
But thanks, Bill, I never knew.
Yeah, it's a whole separate.
Erica, you have the community meeting on Saturday morning. Maybe we can connect before or after, if your schedule permits.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Please do, yeah,
So,
just text me.
Do I need to make a motion? I mean, this
Make a motion.
Well, that's just it. This is plain and clear as day that we have to have it based on the law, so.
Well, here's what I would suggest. I would suggest we put, something you guys are putting together, so I would suggest we put together a policy, 5 days notice or whatever it is, and then you can actually go on the policy. That's what I would suggest. If you want to make a motion to say, we're going to have it available, you're on out. That's fine.
So so anything else?
No, thank you so much for listening.
And I know if Charmaine were here, she would have said a lot too. So I want to make a motion then that we will be moving forward on exploring how we can make, at this point, sign language interpreter services available. And but again, I want to reiterate that I'm here to advocate for all people that speak a language other than English. There's 800 languages in New York State.
And I could say that we would make a motion to move towards reasonable accommodations for all of our citizens. That covers everything.
Absolutely.
The language barriers are, is that fair enough? Well said.
And then we put the other policy.
Yeah, so can I get a second, please? Josh seconds, all in favor?
The only thing, Eric, I would mention is that I think for the board, I think it would be nice to have this ahead of time so that we can just get it.
Okay.
Because just being spun the comments, I'm like, oh, what's this? I didn't know that.
No, I do have one other that is, this is controversial, and you know what? This is the way it goes, because I'm not creating this, I'm trying to stop it. It was interesting, I was going through my notes, and exactly 1 year to date, in March of 2025, Callie and I were on the agenda to talk about the negativity that's been occurring in the community. And we asked a year ago to please let's address this. We shared publicly concerns about the amount of negativity and that there's just this tolerance, and there really should be a zero tolerance about the negativity. And the negativity I want to speak about is based on what goes on in the ability to communicate to all residents in this community, specifically the website Positively Lima. Now you can say, well, the village board has nothing to do that, we don't govern it. Okay, that's correct. However, on multiple occasions, I have asked that someone, and you all know who the administrators are, everybody knows who the administrators are, and if you don't, I'll be happy to share that. Somebody needs to talk to them, and but before I do that,
Who are for the administrators, just for the record?
the administrators, the biggest culprit is Jacob Button, and Lita Button, Nicole Marie, and there's one other person. And that's what I'm going to talk about. So, let me give you 2 seconds to organize my thoughts because of the other stuff that was intense that you said. So this has to do with about effectively communicating and feeling safe. In 1983, Ron Buchanan, he was a man who worked at Elam. He approached the Lima Historical Society, which I am a board member of. I'm very proud to be that. We have an incredible history here. He approached the Lima Historical Board and said, hey, I want to create a document that just shows how positively Lima is. So that turned that point by this gentleman who is no longer, he's deceased. I was told he was a wonderful man. So from there, the Positively Lima, which was, I guess, back in the day, there were banners. It's still on the T-shirts. If you purchase a T-shirt for the Historical Society, it says Positively Lima. Well, in my discussions with the Historical Board, no one ever said, and not that they copyrighted the name, but no one ever said, hey, do you mind if we take Positively Lima and make the Facebook our name? They just went and done that. So now, Positively Lima is this Facebook page that's supposed to be accessible to all members of the community. I can tell you, and this isn't just happening today, it isn't happening because it's election season, this happens every single day. A certain group of people are allowed to share their thoughts, their views, but God forbid anybody else, and I'm going to give you examples, are allowed to do that. And I'm going to give you perfect examples. Currently, the biggest issue for me is I'm running for the seat here, village trustee, as does Kevin Kistner and Harvey Palmer. We are hitting the pavement every day to let ourselves be known. Yet, we wouldn't have access to Positively Lima because we're not of those individuals' mindset, belief systems, or etc. And I'm being very kind. Thank you. Because this is really angers me. Last year, people got blocked because of, and Brian, I know you don't want to hear this, but I have to say it. People responded to behaviors that you have exhibited here in this board meeting, out in the community, And people were outraged because of that and had no other place but to put that on Positively Lima. They got blocked because they were responding to the negativity that you put forth on them. So they're the ones then that chastised, not the people that are causing the problem, okay? So, getting back to me now, so, with our campaigning, we don't have a place other than, thank God Christopher Joe came in and created Lima Live 365, where that's a nonpartisan, we can go, anybody can go on there, he's wonderful. Then what happens is there's a lot of instigating on the part of the administrator that, one particular, that looks to create and divide, and we're working hard to bring the community together. We already live in a country that loves this drama, trauma, anger, and as I said a year ago, I don't want to live here living like that, okay? And, so, but it's instigating people, it's blocking people, it's name calling. He didn't say it, but there's another member of the group said, and I quote, and this is disgusting, eat a bag of dicks is what was stated to a member of the community. Now, who talks like that to people?
I need to just interrupt just for a moment.
Yes.
I mean, there's a certain level of business that we need to conduct as a board, and I respect the fact that there's people out there doing some really evil and ugly things.
The board has to do something, John.
This is not
Well, with all due respect, 3 times during this meeting, he said, go on Positively Lima to see A, B, and C. And I've been left lost
I didn't say that.
for 3 different things that people were talking about. You said you can find it on Positively Lima. So what do the rest of us do?
So that's
I
what I
didn't
mean.
hear any references to any kind of village board.
Yes, you did. You mentioned it.
I mean,
You mentioned it for the applications.
But you're not blocked from the.
I said I was putting the parks up on the village website.
Right.
I
Parks is on the
I
village
don't
website.
participate.
Nothing was mentioned to go on.
I don't either. Now I would want to. It's an embarrassment.
What are we looking to do?
So my point here tonight is this is really a community meeting. This isn't about Facebook versus people. What are we as a community? Is this okay?
No, it's unacceptable. It turns my stomach every time we have a
disgusting.
freaking election.
It's disgusting, and you know that this. So this is what I want to propose. We need to bring these administrators in for a session here and have a meeting with them, because it's not getting done by people who I have asked to address it. Because is this how you want Lima represented? This is not right.
I don't have control what people do and
I
poke
understand
and
that,
poke the bear. I mean,
but
I try
you're condoning it. It's
No,
okay.
I try to set a positive example from where I sit, and when I do a message, I set by example. And if you doubt that, then maybe I made the wrong choice.
But you're mayor. You make the wrong choice of me.
No, if you think that I'm not doing my job,
I'm not going to kick you out of there.
Let's take out these things. I mean, I don't think we want to make it, we want to have a public discussion about this, put it on the agenda, and have a public hearing.
I don't oppose talking to these people.
Hold on. The village board has nothing to do with this group. So, no control over it, we have no say in it. So, I mean, if you think it's a community concern, that's fine, you can have a hearing, you can put it on the agenda. We're going to talk about specific people as we have, like it or not. And it should be on the agenda, so they have a right to be here and discuss it
Well,
themselves.
I'm all open, exactly, and everybody is welcome. Bill, the other thing is, Bonnie Waddick, who tried to post the community connecting meetings minutes from last month, is not allowed to do that. She has repeatedly submitted and they will not do it. And because she put, this is Erica Ryan, her logo, she started this, look what a great job she's doing, she's a village trustee. By the way, she's running with Harvey Palmer and Harvey Kistner, but yet, look at the minutes. So what's wrong with that? Dan Marcellus, nothing against you, Dan, I like you, but Dan has to put his autobiography on there. Lima election 2026, that I don't know, you're running around for your Facebook page. Yeah,
Facebook page.
yeah, which is your prerogative, but my point is, you guys get to all have your stuff, but we can't put anything there.
Well, is your community connection a political page? Because
No.
that's what that is, but just so you're complaining two different
No,
things.
I'm not, no, I'm not.
Well, you are. You said that the community connections is promoting your candidacy.
It wasn't. She
Well,
just said.
I'm going to say this. We, all of us have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of New York, which is primarily, the First Amendment is free speech. It is not local government's job to tell people what to say. I have a lot of things I could say to people in this room who have been, frankly, horrid to me and my family in the last 365 days. Horrid. And I'm not going to do that. You feel free, and you have felt free to call people culprits, chastised, instigating problems.
Please take responsibility for your actions, Brian Steph. I'm
Please,
sorry. No.
decorum, please, we need to
No,
maintain,
I'm going to
please.
move on, but you are not going to get away with the things that you do for this community. What did you do with Callie? I'm tired of you acting like you're so God
Eric,
bless
take
good.
a
No,
breath,
John,
please.
you know,
Please take a
John.
breath. This is not the time.
No,
to talk
I
about
have been
this
so
now.
angry. No, it needs to come out. This community needs to know. This is it's an illusion. It's a grand illusion. That's what you are, Brian
It's enough,
Smith.
please.
And I am done. I am done.
Let's just get through this.
Hold on.
This is my time for public comment.
Melissa, I apologize, but I've had it. I've had it.
Can we please,
Well,
can we
we
please
got-
just move
Yeah,
on with the
I'm
rest of
ready to
the
do that.
We have a long
agenda?
executive session too.
Yes, I know. It's 9:30.
I understand. So if there's something, there's an action you want the board to take on this, let's make a motion and get it going. Otherwise, we'll go to public comment and then executive session.
I would encourage the teams to help us try to come up with some way that we can deal with this.
I'm sick of it too. I really am.
It's
And
so
it needs to happen outside this decorum, and
I just think you have so much power as a mayor.
I'll work.
If you sat down with some
Let me
people.
figure something out.
Yeah.
When I'm working with Erica on the ASL deal, we'll have a casual conversation and an adult conversation where we can look at all aspects from it. And if I can find some way to find some common ground and bury the hatchet and have people have more consideration and empathy,
Yeah.
lead with love,
Yeah.
as John would say, then I'll volunteer to
That
step
would
in.
be wonderful. Thank you.
That's all I can offer at this time, so you have my word that I will do that with you, and we'll work together on it. And if you need to bring in other members to have a little collection of minds, then so be it.
Thank
But I will make myself available to do that. Is
So
that fair
let's-
enough?
Good? Okay. Let's go to public comment.
Last opportunity for public comment, please. Mr. Marcellus.
First one is in regard to the committee for the park. This is 2 board members from each board, is that correct?
That's correct. They're assigned by the supervisor and the mayor.
Is this a standing committee?
I'm sorry, it
Is
is
this a
a standing committee.
standing committee?
Yes, it is a standing committee.
Okay, standing committees are required to follow open meeting law,
We meet the third Thursday of every month.
which means should be published and people know about it. Just so you know.
It is
Planning committee needs to be there.
Thank you.
The other one is, I have studied quite a bit about communication, how to communicate, people communicate in different ways. I have found, at least in my business, if I have an issue with someone, I go talk to that person. That's what I do.
I'm very well on how to do
So,
that.
good. That's all I'm
Thank you,
saying,
Dan, for
that
sharing that.
it's the best way to do it as opposed to doing it on Facebook.
I agree. Good people read between the lines all the time, and then they pass their own judgment, and it's not accurate.
Anyone else public comment?
On anything?
Not you. Anyone else? You have something to say? I mean, we just have a long executive session ahead of us, so I'm trying to, if anyone has comments, please say them now, but I'm not.
Just real quick, update, we've been in Florida, so I haven't even gotten with Brian. Going to meet with Mr. Wright on Saturday. I'm getting his copy of his insurance from him, and you will have that. It's going to be probably somewhere in the next 30 to 45 days. Weather permitting, the rust will be on down there to the 2 gazebos.
I started work on the flower beds, turning them over, weather permitting, keep working on them over the next few weeks. Obviously, we're still 8 weeks away from planning anything with frost and everything else. The festival is going very well. We had Wegmans again this year. We have picked up Five Star Bank and Harris Seed as brand new partners with us. Our next meeting is it was going to be the 19th. I see Mr. Blodgett has a presentation at the library. We're looking, anybody that's on the connected with me, we're looking, we might change that date, but right now it's the 19th here. The other thing, made a motion, I don't know if I've gotten with the town, and Alyssa and maybe Josh are the two to come together on this one. So we donated the $5,000 at the last meeting from the Pumpkin Festival. 500 from the town and 500 from the village need to go to 4029 for 2 bike racks we are sponsoring in the park. So
Out of that 5,000?
yes, sir. Yes, out of that 5,000, and you've already had the check. We gave you the check. And so obviously the town and village split the cost at the park. And I guess however you want to do it with the supervisor, if it's all going to come out of one side, or 50-50, 500 and 500. But we need to get that going forward with the scouts.
Thank you, Steve.
So they're discussing that they need an invoice to make it,
Josh, can you do that for us? And so 2 invoices, one to the town and one to the village, I would suspect. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Mr. Joe?
I feel it's necessary to point out that Lima Live is not nonpartisan. It's my personal site with my personal views. It is as responsible as Positively Lima in the negativity. And if you have a meeting about it, then I am willing to come in to speak to you guys about the negativity that I've brought also.
Great, thank you. Last chance for comment. We will close public comment this time, and motion to go into executive session for personnel issues.
motion to close the general meeting and go into executive session.
Second, please. Second. All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody in attendance.
Good, how are you? Yeah, wow. Hey, Chris. I'm really sorry.